So next we have our emerging professional panelists coming up, and we have Maddie Schappert. She is a student at University of Utah, but also is graduating, and she's employed with, she's an assistant designer actually at John Martin Studio, and she's going to be actually joining us as the financial director for the Intermountain Chapter Board. And then we have Madison Ditton. She is a commercial designer with FFKR Architects in Salt Lake City. And then I'm going to turn it over to Kaylin, our president-elect, as she's going to moderate this panel.
Hi, I'm so excited to speak with you, Maddie and Madison. So we're going to talk first about an intro into the profession. And let's start with you, Madison. What do you feel was something that was crucial to getting your first job?
I think one of the biggest things, first off, is that first impression. That is so huge. And before you even interview and they get to meet you and see you, that's your second impression. Your first impression is your portfolio and your resume, and them taking a look at those kind of things. And first off, yes, you need to do a great job, the best job you can to make it look beautiful and clean and organized. That's part of it. But the second part is the content, building up your resume, doing as much that you can do while you're in school, being a part of ASID, doing internships, getting part-time jobs during school, volunteering, applying for different, or submitting your projects to different competitions, and really getting that kind of content to build up your resume and portfolio. I think that's really what helped me, is I was able to build up a very strong portfolio and resume to get my first job.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Maddie, do you want to answer that same question briefly?
Yeah, first of all, hi, Maddie. It's been so long.
Hi.
And I'm kind of in the position where I am looking for a job. So I do work part-time right now at a design firm in Salt Lake City, but they aren't in the position where they can hire me on full-time right now as a designer. So I am looking for another job with the support of my current employers. But I think, at least for me, I think just being excited and knowing that I am worth hiring, for someone else to hire me, I think that's important for me right now.
So, Madison, let's go back to you for just a sec. I didn't catch where you're working right now.
So I work at FFKR Architects in Salt Lake City. I've been there for 2 years now. That was my first job out of college. Commercial designer. And it's interesting, during school I was wanting to be a residential designer, and anyways, I presented one of my projects at a sustainability summit at Weber State, and that's just another thing, like I'm saying, hey, go do as much as you can during school to pad your resume. And actually, while I was there presenting my project, FFKR had a booth there, and I was like, oh, I just had some business cards printed. I'm like, let me just go talk to them, whatever. And anyways, ended up getting a job. They're like, oh, that's your portfolio. And it just felt so right. I interviewed at some residential places as well, but it just, stars aligned and ended up in the commercial world, and I love it, love it, love it.
Awesome. Thank you. Back to you, Maddie. What are some questions you should be asking the interviewer? So you've probably been on more than one interview. You probably can think back something that you wish you would have said, or something that you said that was awesome that you wish you will always remember to ask. What's that?
Well, I think the best question I've had asking, or I just really like to ask it, is just how did they start their careers, and how did they get to, what made them want to do interior design? I like to get to know them a little bit more and see what makes them tick a little bit, and I think that's huge. And then, as Adrian was saying earlier, seeing if they would support me in getting NCIDQ certified as well as LEAD, if I wanted to do that in the future. And then also what would be my main roles in that position.
Awesome. Madison, what suggestions do you have for negotiating salary?
So I actually did do that so I had multiple job offers when I graduated 2 years ago. And because I had multiple job offers, that's what I was able to use to negotiate a little bit of a bump in my starting salary with FFKR. And so I think that's the way to do it, is if you have multiple job offers and you say, hey, I really would love to work for you guys, but I'm being offered to get paid more at this other firm. I'd like to, and this was done over email. They emailed me the job offer after my interview, and I responded and said, hey, this is what I'm being offered at the other firm, but I want to work for you guys. Is there anything you can do to help me with? And they responded, and sure enough, got a little bit of a higher starting salary. So that was great.
Awesome. Maddie, what are some tips on transitioning from school to the workforce that you would give these students? What advice?
Well, right now, enjoy school. Just remember to enjoy it, even though it's stressful. I'm telling myself that right now too. As we only have 2 weeks left, just trying to take it all in, and learn as much as you can, and don't learn it to forget it, learn it to remember it. And then I guess remember that the whole point of going to school is to get a job afterwards. So yeah, if you're, I don't know, like getting an A isn't always necessarily the best thing. You're trying to get to a different spot after. So
Awesome.
Hey, Caitlin, sorry to interrupt real quick. Just going back to the salary briefly, we had a student ask, what do you think a reasonable offer for an emerging designer might be? To be in a salary.
With a 4-year degree, ASID, what do you girls think?
For me, and of course, it's a little bit different where you live, but Salt Lake City, a good starting salary could be in the range of 35 to 40,000. 35 at the lower end, 40,000 at the higher end.
So maybe starting off right from the get-go, close to 35.
Yeah. Give or
Perfect.
take.
Thank you. Maddie, did you have another opinion? Have you heard anything different?
I know a lot of the seniors that graduated last year from USU said they were in the low to mid 40s. So even going up to the mid 40s would, I think, depending on where you go again.
Maddie, how has being in a professional organization like ASID helped your career?
Well, I realized that I should look at the ASID job Intermountain job website. So I'll probably be doing that later today. And then hopefully just gaining connections and networking. I've grown to know a couple of the professionals throughout it. So yeah, I think networking is the biggest thing.
How about you, Madison?
Well,
benefit?
Oh, totally. In school, get involved. ASID, in school, I was a student president for ASID. I got to go to Scale, was a portfolio finalist for that. It was in New York City. Part of it is, again, padding your resume and really showing off your best self for once the time comes that you do graduate and get a job. That's just another credential, another item you can add to your resume. And also, like Maddie said, networking. There's so many people I know now in the ASID world that can lead to job opportunities, or can lead to, support, help, asking for questions. Hey, what's your experience in this? I have this certain situation with one of my projects I'm working on, different stuff like that.
Adrienne just had a comment to that same question, you guys, and I thought I would read it. She said, it really depends on the location as well as the type of designer or position that you're being offered. And not to forget about benefits. It may not be the cash every month that you're looking for exactly, but there might be health insurance, vacation, 401k, those kind of things. So if those are important to you too, and those of you emerging into the workforce, I would certainly, as an employer, also help you to look at that those are very important things, are the benefits. And so that helps too. Thank
Totally.
you guys so much. Is there anything in ending that you would like to offer these young students that are getting ready to graduate? Madison?
Sure. I guess one thing that I'll say, if you're one of those people who are debating if you want to go in the residential versus the commercial field, I miss residential, so I think my long-term goal is to get involved into both and be able to work at a firm or start my own firm that does both. But I would recommend going to work at a commercial firm when you graduate, partially because you get to experience design in a very, heavy, codes, ADA, fire safety, all sorts of this different level that you really get to dive into and learn about, that you don't need to go quite that deep in the residential field. And the reason, so I just barely got my NCIDQ just this last October. And I think if I didn't have the commercial experience, passing those exams would have been quite a bit harder, just because those exams, the content really is heavy in the, the codes and that kind of stuff. So that's one of my big things, is I have no regrets coming into the commercial world. And if one day I want to switch back to the residential world, I totally can.
Totally agree. Maddie, anything closing?
Be excited. I remember Maddie was telling us a little while ago that school isn't forever and that it quickly comes to an end. So it goes by fast, even though it feels long.
Thank you both so much for being with us today. We really appreciate it.